Welcome to the channel, everyone. I'm Steelax, and we are going to be doing a Let's Play series of Satisfactory Plus, ultra hardcore edition of the game. I think most people play this game. It's super fun, has a very high learning curve, but for those who want an extra challenge, there is a plus mod that ran into that is so much more fun. Way more complicated. So I have on the screen here what comes with the Satisfactory Plus mod. You want to make sure you don't have any other mods running when you do this, otherwise it can be a little crashy. So that's what comes with the game. A lot to talk about with it, but let's go ahead and get started and we can talk about it when we are landing. So we'll start a new game in the Dune Desert. And let's go. So this mod adds a lot of complication, new resources, extra steps for crafting all of your parts. Everything is far more complicated, so the early game stage is much slower.
Attention pioneer. The following instructional video
But it is much more fun. I think it's a great improvement on the base game, which was already fantastic. The assets for all the buildings that are new look just as good, if not better, than the originals. They did such a good job with this.
to build the necessary buildings.
I'll put a link in the description where you can download the mod.
Improve your infrastructure.
But I definitely recommend it if you guys haven't played this before. Alright, we skipped the touchdown since everybody's seen it before. Grab the pod, and now we need to put down our base. It doesn't really matter where we start. Kind of want to be close to the water. We're going to be moving everything. So everything is very plain Jane for our first upgrade. We need some rods. So everything's going to look a lot different. A lot of recipe changes. Stiratite is the first thing we need. That replaces iron. This one's closest. Let's just get this going. It's a lot more manual handcrafting at the beginning, so I'll be skipping around for the stuff. But let's get some base ore, and I'll bring you guys back. All right, the impure node was a little annoying, so we moved over to a normal node. And we got about 200 Stiratite ore. So let's go ahead and jump in. So we need some rods. So we gotta crush the Stiratite, and it makes crushed Stiratite. So if this stuff doesn't look familiar, it's because it is brand new. So once it's crushed, we can make sloppy iron ingots. Later on, we can make non-sloppy iron ingots. But we're gonna start with the handcrafting stuff. So we'll get these ingots crafted up, and then we'll do some rods to get our base upgraded so we can start unlocking stuff. So we're only gonna do stuff as we need it, just until we get a flow going. Let's upgrade the hub. Alright, now we got a place to store stuff. There's a couple hogs I had to kill coming over here. Upgrade 2. So we're going to go scan for Saphirite. So what that is, our copper replacement. So we're gonna need 20, 10, and 15. All right, I'll go ahead and handcraft this stuff and bring you guys back. All right, handcrafting grind done. Did a little bit extra because we're gonna need them. Hub upgrade 2. So we're just doing these things just to get the base stuff. And it looks like we're gonna have to go grab some of the copper replacement as well. All right, so let's go ahead and throw down a workshop. Get some portable miners going. Definitely going to be our best friends. So I'm going to manually mine these. And there is Saphirite node right by. After I get these crafted up, throw them down. So with these miners, a known bug in the game is if you try throwing down multiple at the same time, they don't work. So you do want to do them one at a time. Push the wrong button. Let's get like, let's say 5 down. And we'll get 5 down on the Stiratite. Now we got our 5 portables down on both Stiratite and Saphirite. Eventually want to get power going. Let's go and select this milestone and do some more grinding. So just like with the Stiratite, the Saphirite is going to come in its raw ore form, and then we need to crush it. When we get into doing buildings, we actually build crushers, and they're going to have byproducts that we got to deal with. So a lot of extra steps, but we're going to crush it, make some sloppy copper ingots, and then we can go into some copper rods. So another new item, and that will go into wire and cable. All right, a little bit of hand crafting later, and we got what we need to do the next hub upgrade. And let's see, what do we need now? Alright, so it's going to be getting us into rubites. We'll go throw down those portable miners, do some more manual handcrafting, and then we'll get into actually throwing down some miners. So we can also crush the Stiratite ore into crushed stone, which is going to be a byproduct once we get some machines up and running. That crushed stone can be made into concrete, which we're going to need for that hub upgrade for. Alright, a bunch of handcrafting later and a lot of the higher end parts. So it'd be good to go for some upgrades. So we made some reinforced iron plate, and that takes iron plate and iron wire. Iron wire is made from the iron rods. And then cable is made from wire, wire from copper rods. So we got a little stockpile. Let's go ahead and do our upgrade 4. And number 5. So now we're gonna need to get some tin. Alright, so right across the water we got a normal rubite ore node, so we'll throw down some portable miners on. Now that we got the 5 portable miners going on the rubite, let's go ahead and get ahead on all the bio and pick up a ton of leaves and wood for when we start getting into power. Alright, I think we got enough leaves for now. Go ahead and grab everything from these rubite or portable miners. We'll take it back and do some handcrafting. Alright, so we're back doing some crafting. The rubite ore, just like the other ores, first we have to crush it. Again, these will all be done by buildings in the future. And then those make sloppy tin ingots. And from there, we can make some tin plates so we can upgrade our hub. We got not a lot, but a good amount to start for leaves for our bio, which we can't craft yet, so I'll throw those in the box and I'll show you guys when we upgrade that. So we just got our tin plates all crafted up. It looks like we're gonna need some more iron, some iron rods, as well as some more concrete. So we'll empty out these Stiratite ore portable miners, whip those up, and we'll get that upgrade 5. We got the iron rods made up and the concrete. Let's go ahead and get that upgrade 5. Alright, so now we got upgrade 6. Almost got enough. Let's throw in what we got and grab the rest. So we almost had everything to do upgrade 6. Looks like our miners are already unlocked, but I already have this rubite, so we'll go ahead and crush it up, and we'll make enough to get our ingots, to rods, to tin wire. We only need 50 tin wire to get that upgrade 6, and then we'll look at doing some builds. Alright, we got enough concrete and tin wire to upgrade 6. Boom! Beautiful. So all tier 0s are done. Here she comes. Our sky pod is here. Awesome. So in here, now we can really start to show you. The upgrades are all completely different. So I got basic logistics for belts. Merger splitters, we're definitely going to need those. Then we have access to Mark IIs, solid biofuel, base building for foundations, storage, and the MAM. A lot of the MAM stuff in this is pretty mid to late game. And then the sorter is going to be important for our buildings. Assembler, glass wall. So we just hit our first big bottleneck. Definitely going to need to get logistics. Destruction of nature. I hate grabbing leaves all the time. So we definitely want to move into solid biofuel. So we can get some miners down. For that's going to need power. So we're going to need to make biomass. More crafting. It's a lot in this edition, but let's go ahead and craft up some of this biomass. It's more efficient to burn, and we'll look at what we need for the miners. Alright, so we got a bunch more baseline crafting done. So we made some more reinforced iron plates because we need those for buildings. We got our biomass changed over from all of the leaves. We got some more tin stuff unlocked. So the rubite to the crushed rubite to the sloppy tin ingots, and then that tin rods to tin wire. But now we also have tin sheets, and that goes from tin plates. So everything branches out really quickly. There's a lot of extra stuff that's not in vanilla. So we got a little bit of everything made up. Also with our iron, we got iron plates to iron sheets, which we're going to need. So come up here, we're definitely going to work on our Stiratite or iron first. We're going to need to move those. So modular miner. So the same miner works on a bunch of different resources, and you get different mining heads. So we're going to need to put in a modular miner and then a metal mining head, and we'll be on the metal mining heads for a while until we get to steel. So we'll get some of those, so we'll have to pick up some of those miners. Later in the game, you need tons of these portable miners. That's why we just went ahead and made a bunch. So we'll need to get this set up on all three of the base resources: the Stiratite, the rubite, and the, I can't remember it. Oh, the names. I'm still getting used to the names. So we'll get all three going, but we're going to work on the Stiratite first. It's the most important. And with the extra step is it all needs to be crushed. So the miner has two outputs, which will go into two inputs into a crusher, which will crush it. It'll make the crushed resource and then also have a byproduct of the crushed stone, which we have to manage, and that's going to need to be made into concrete and then other things later on in the game. And then the crushed stuff can go into smelters to go into constructors, and then it's more like base vanilla. We do have our biomass generators unlocked and power poles, which we're going to need. We have our Mark 1 stuff unlocked, which is fantastic. Let's go back and look at here. We're definitely going to need some conveyor belts. I already made what we need for here. Let's go ahead and throw those in before we get too deep into our buildings. Our first series of buildings we're just gonna throw on the floor until we get a good amount of crushed stone to make concrete going, and then we're gonna lift everything up. So we're definitely gonna need base building, but let's go ahead and do Destruction of Nature. Queued up for our second one. And let's go ahead and pick these portable miners up, and we will get our miner setup down. Got our modular miner down, and then we put in a mining head. Got hooked up to power. We'll build more burners for more power later, but it should be good to start. And we got normal, two outputs of 30. And this will need to go into a crusher. And like I said, when we get everything going, we'll get these off the ground. Some Mark 1s into here. Crushed Stiratite. So this takes 60 per minute, which we got two outputs of 30. Mark 1's gonna do 60. Okay, so those are good. So this is producing our 60 crushed Stiratite and then our 20 crushed stone. So we're gonna have to keep up with the crushed stone. So we'll let this start to fill up, and we'll get a little bit more of a network going. And our first basic startup is going. So we got our two lines going into the crusher. We got the crushed stone coming down here into a merger, which will bring the other byproducts to. So that's 20 per minute. This can handle up to 60 crushed stone to make 20 concrete per minute. So we're not making much concrete now. We're feeding to this storage just so it doesn't back up our crusher. As well as we're going to need lots of concrete to get everything off the ground for foundations, but we don't even have that unlocked yet. So we got our crushed Stiratite going into splitter. Two smelters, each doing 30 per minute. And then we got our ingots going to constructors. This one's pumping out 20 iron plates per minute, and then we got two doing iron rods, which are 15 per minute. So these are going to need to go to other machines, which will have more byproduct. But we finally got our first system going, and we have enough biomass to kind of get us going. We got our Stiratite system start going. It immediately ran out of power, so we just made a quick impromptu setup. These lines can only support 60 per minute, and these take 10 per minute, so we can only do 6. And then we got a little storage, but I got them all full, but I don't have any excess, so Gonna do our second of many bio runs. So let me go grab some more. We'll get this filled up. Eventually we'll set up a system here to automatically convert it from leaves. We will need some smart splitters, but that is a ways down, and then we'll finish our setup. And we got a very basic setup for making our biomass. We got one for leaves, one for wood. It's not super full, but it should be good for a little bit since these are all full, and we aren't using that much power yet. We're still very early in the game. So we have a capacity up to 180, consuming 50. So that is not too bad. That'll give us enough grace room to finish this up, and then we start on our other base materials. Already ran some power out to this one, so we'll get this one set up, and then we'll get that one set up, and then we'll probably have to expand our power further. We are now making our iron wire, our screws, and our iron sheets. Not a lot per minute, but we got at least them automated, so we don't have to handcraft these anymore. And then we'll get our next and our Saphirite. Another modular miner. Let's go up that way. Our mining head. And this one is also 60. So crushers, smelters, constructors, just like our Stiratite. And we now have our starter Saphirite set up. So we got our modular miner going to our crusher. We got the crushed stone running off to combine with that merger to make the concrete. Got our two smelters. One making the copper bus bars, which we didn't really talk about, but that's our kind of like the plates version, and those go into copper sheets and just storage. And then we got this one branching off into two, making copper rods to wire to cable. Now these are just normal nodes that we're setting up. Some people like to always do the pure nodes, but I find for your starter one that you're going to tear down anyway, it's usually easier just to use normal nodes, because you end up producing twice as much, which makes twice as much machines and twice as much power. So I find that if you work on normal nodes just for your starter one, because we got to do our 3 resources, which we haven't set the third one up yet, that's much easier. Expand, get your power going much better. When you tear it all down to start cleaning up and put on foundations, that's a really good time to then move over to your pure nodes, and each of them are going to be double, but you already have a lot of your parts that you need to build more buildings. So our third one, Rubite, we do need to set up a miner here, but I think we're going to save that for our next episode, that and expanding on our power setup. We'll go ahead and wrap this one up with a super fast, gather some more bio, and if you guys like the video, please subscribe, and we'll see you in the next one.